Intro music.
On it.
A star for the ages for Tony Gwynn, number 3,000.
And the ball game is over. The series is over. Welcome to Slam Diego.
My name is Joey,
My name is James.
and this is the Brothers Padre.
And in this episode, I'm hesitant to say is a good episode. It's a positive episode.
I will accept positive.
We have not had many of these, and it has been a roller coaster of a week. So let me recap the games real quick. It started Monday, July 24th. Everything was up in the air. If we do well, we're not going to trade away players. We're going to trade for players and try to build a team to make it to the playoffs. If we do badly, we're going to sell. The Pirates came to town. For some reason, we can't beat the Pirates. We were only able to take 1 out of 3 games from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Blake Snell threw a gem. All of our starting pitchers threw well in that series. Then comes the best team in baseball,
Yeah, probably.
the Texas Rangers. And people were official Texas Rangers Twitter account posted, "Let's sweep the Padres and take Snell and Hader off their hands." It's an official thing they tweeted. Now, the Padres have not lost a game to the Texas Rangers since Joe Musgrove threw a no-hitter against them 2 seasons ago. And that streak continued. We swept the Rangers. And because of that, we were buyers. And then we flew to Colorado, the land of stupid. We lost the first game and won the final 2.
It's been a wild week.
7-3
Yep.
for those 10 games. You can't ask for, that's a good 10-game stretch.
Right.
It's been emotional. We're not going to recap too much of the games because there's a lot to do about the trade deadline.
The big thing is, as it stands now, we're 4 games out of the 3rd wildcard spot. We're 6.5 games between any of the wildcard spots. We're at one point this season 8 games out. So we are, in fact, trending upward.
Yes.
So, as you said, when you recapped, the Padres are waiting on basically how we did, which was very scary to watch. Because the whole time when the Pittsburgh series, I'm like, oh, we're selling. We're going to get rid of all the pieces.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. And so a flurry of moves were made. Not a flurry, just 3 moves were made. I'm going to explain them now. Ready, James?
I am.
You already know it. I don't know why I'm building this up. You already know all the trades, but for dramatic effect, James.
I erased them from my memory. I have a little Men in Black flasher thing for kids from the 90s, and a little magic wand to take my memories out from the Dumbledore kids from the 2000s. I don't know what erases your memories nowadays, kids. Probably just eating Tide Pods.
So, the first trade the Padres did was they traded for, I hope I have the timeline. I think it's the first one. All the trades happened pretty much the last day of the trade deadline. Final day of the deadline, rather. And the first one was we trade for Rich Hill and G-Man Choi from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Rich Hill is a 43-year-old starting pitcher who will throw you innings.
Yes.
Doesn't necessarily mean they'll be great innings, but he'll give you innings. He's had a decent year this year. And we've been needing starter depth, and is a great pick for that. G-Man Choi's had a down year as well, but the past month has been hitting well. And he's a lefty platoon bat who plays first base and outfield. And he is South Korean, So Ha-Sung Kim and him are going to become, I don't want to say best buddies, but I assume it'll be nice to have a fellow countryman on your team.
Did you follow Kim on social media?
Oh, yeah.
Him and Choi went to Korean barbecue, all of Kim's favorite Korean restaurants in San Diego while they were here.
I think that it's going to be a good thing. I like G-Man's a very fun goofball of a player, a cheerleader type. He also is a sneaky athletic person. And this was the kind of positional player buy you wanted, because we did not give up huge pieces for this, for any of these trades.
We gave up Jackson Wolf was the big one in that trade.
Yeah. Jackson Wolf, who pitched one game for us, and he did a good job, truthfully.
The only sad thing about that is he was one of our nephew's favorite pitchers. He thought he was really cool when he was up there pitching.
Yeah. Our nephew's going to learn the cruelty of baseball real quick. Don't get too attached to prospects, kid. But yeah, so I think that's a great ad. I'll keep going the rest of them. The next one we did was with the Kansas City Royals. We traded for their closer, Scott Barlow. Scott Barlow last year had an incredible year. This year's having a down year, but he still throws super hard, and he still has a nasty slider and pitched it. In today's game, it was, as you mentioned, it was like a gyro ball. It was like a wild-looking pitch.
He threw 2 scoreless innings today in Colorado, and his gyro pitch worked in Colorado.
Yeah. And it was great to see. So he's going to be added into bullpen depth because our bullpen's pretty shaky. I'll say that. So now it kind of solidifies, we now have Hader, Suarez, Wilson, Cosgrove, and Barlow. I just want to call him Bowers.
I'm pretty sure he would not like to be called
No,
Bauer.
I know.
Nobody wants to be called Bauer.
Barlow. A very low bar. Barlow. So he's now going to become a nice relief piece for us.
And if we have Josh Hader 2 games in a row and don't want to use him again, Barlow can save games.
Yep. And the final one was we traded with the Miami Marlins for one Garrett Cooper, a first baseman outfielder, and a prospect named Sean Reynolds, who after trading became Padres' 24th ranked prospect, high velocity thrower, who's high upside but mixed result year. But Garrett Cooper is another platoon bat, kind of a righty version of Troy. If you're catching I think it's a big sign of what the Padres believe is their issue, which is they don't have a good enough platoon. They don't have a good enough. They're not getting the kind of looks they want in the lineup that they consistently want from the right hand and left hand side for DH or first base. So that is the deal. And sadly, the Miami Marlins trade. We have liked Ryan Weathers for a very long time. We called him our son. He got traded to the Miami Marlins, so that's a little sad.
It is sad. Ever since his Major League debut in the playoffs in 2020,
yeah,
chomping gum. He had he was just so nervous, and he pitched well.
Yep.
Love that kid. I hope the Miami pitching staff is a change he needs to become the pitcher I think he can be.
Yeah,
I think
agree.
he has real David Wells potential.
I agree. I just I hope he gets it there, and that is the 2023 Padres trade deadline. What are your thoughts? What are your feelings? What's the vibe with you now with the San Diego Padres post those 3 trades?
Well, looking back at every trade season, there's always one little heartbreak. Last year was probably C.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
And Mackenzie Gore. This year was definitely Ryan Weathers. But the Padres have needed a cheerleader type person on the bench. And for all accounts, that's G-Man Choi. And they also need more veteran presence in the pitching staff. And apparently everyone loves Rich Hill. Mm-hmm. Rich Hill is, and everyone says he's one of the most well-respected people in baseball. He'll probably retire and automatically become a pitching coach. He has like a rubber arm. He'll give you 150 innings every year. His ERA will be around 4. He's just a good, reliable back end of the rotation, and he also can come out of the bullpen. So Joe Musgrove missed a start today because he had a sore shoulder, and Michael Wacha still has a shoulder problem, so he's going to pitch this weekend. And when we have our rotation back at full strength, he can easily just move back into the bullpen.
Yep.
And as far as Barlow goes, the dude was one of the best closers last year. He was playing for a terrible team this year for the Royals. And Garrett Cooper is probably good enough at a batter to be a starter in most other teams.
Right.
G-Man Choi, probably also the same thing. They're both going to be really good additions, and we should see them all this weekend.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think about Choi and Garrett Cooper. There was a moment in the Pittsburgh series where the bench consisted of Matt Carpenter, Taylor Coley, and Matt Batten. They all seem like lovely people. But boy, oh boy, doesn't instill confidence, you know? And Garrett Cooper and G-Man Choi are just they're the kind of guys that in the right platoon drive the ball consistently. Yes. And so it just, I think Preller did a really good job of just adding depth, obviously. But in a way that wasn't mortgaging the future. What is that called? What is that expression like for?
Selling the future of the team
yeah.
For winning today. So we didn't lose any of our top 10 prospects.
Right.
Which is great because they're still top 10 prospects and they still could do really good future pieces for the Padres. And the thing is, yes, we fantasized about getting big pieces like a Paul Goldschmidt.
That's like what we expect from Preller. So like I was thinking, reflecting back to the last podcast, and I was like, we both wanted big pieces, but Preller that's how he's been doing it every deadline of late. It's been let's get big old pieces.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've seen. I don't want to say a savvy Preller, but this is a pretty savvy deadline
because he filled in the gaps we needed. And also, he told our stars on our team, you guys aren't going anywhere. This offense is on you.
Juan Soto hit 3 home runs since trade deadline day. So, maybe it works, I don't know. I wonder if this is, we had a great July and, obviously we don't have a easy schedule. I would say our remaining schedule is very mixed.
August is our toughest month.
Yeah. Last 12 games are against very bad teams. But we have to win against good teams in order to compete. So I wonder if at deadline you see those depth pieces really like. I wonder if the momentum from July, which we had a good July, plus the trade deadline really does push this team forward because we're still not in a great place. We're still a game under 500, but man, the vibe is so much different now because it's just that momentum, as I mentioned. And I think that the move that he made mitigate, I just think about if we had all these players in the beginning of the season, how many less losses we would have. How many times have we lost because Tim Hill gave up 5 runs, not 5 runs, 2 or 3 runs, or, Luis Garcia forgot how to exist, right?
Garcia hasn't pitched well all season.
Right, but I mean, there was a time I think about the Giants series where like, oh, he's back. Okay, that was weird. He gave that bad inning. Surely he can't do it twice, and he does do it twice, right? Like, imagine if Barlow was there instead. Imagine if you didn't have Taylor Cowley up against David Bednar in the Pittsburgh Pirates series.
Yeah.
You had G-Man Choi. Like, a lot of these things, you start like, oh, we lost a lot of games because we had no depth. Right. And, I think with Rich Hill coming back, if we get Rich Hill, Waka, and Musgrove all back and healthy, you probably move one of our starters to the bullpen. Right. It could be Rich Hill. It could be Seth Lugo. And all of a sudden we have an even deeper bullpen.
Seth Lugo pitched really well against the Rangers.
No, it's not an easy decision. I think you're just
No.
going to have to make that decision when everyone's healthy. But I think I feel so much better about now. Obviously, winning helps you feel better about things. And, I'm pretty excited about this next few weeks. Maybe I won't be. If Dodger series goes horribly, I'm back in the dark place. I'm like fully back in the dark place.
Me too.
So I don't want them. I don't want them to lose. I want them to take the series at the very least.
The Dodgers, all of their pitchers are banged up right now, except for the guy that got during the trade deadline,
Lance Lynn.
Lance Lynn. But the
But he
Padres,
pitched today. So he might pitch on Sunday.
yeah, there's going to be that weird 4-game
Oh, that's right. I
wraparound
forgot
series.
there's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
So stupid. I hate it.
I don't know why they did that.
This is the second time it's happened this year. This is what happens when we have AI write the schedule and not, an old couple from Des Moines.
It's true. If people aren't aware, there literally was an old couple from Des Moines that used to write the schedule every year.
I don't know if they're from Des Moines, but they're from some
They
Midwestern
might as
town.
well be.
And they wrote the baseball schedule every year.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball.
And they're like, no, we're going to have a computer do it. And yeah, the computer does it in 2 seconds. But how cool is it to have a couple just write the entire baseball schedule every year? It's just fun. It's a fun little thing. You can't tell me that baseball can't have a little fun who they hire and who they pay. Like, who cares?
We still rub every baseball with with a special dirt that you can only find in some random pond in New Jersey. So don't tell me we can't have an old couple writing but maybe they retired. I don't know. But anyways. So yeah, that's back to the baseball, the Padres. I think there are no question marks on trades. Everybody we got is an improvement of what we had.
Yep.
And like, even as the lineup is right now, I still think there's a room on our team for Batten as a utility guy, but everyone else is replaced. I mean, I don't see how Carpenter is still on our team by the end of this weekend.
People say, I mean, was it Dennis Lynn or AJ Cassaville had an article on it where like people like really value him as like a captain in the clubhouse. And I don't know. When was the last time he had a bat? 9 days ago? 8 days ago?
Yeah, something like that.
He didn't play the Rangers series. He didn't play the Rockies series. Did he play the Pirates series?
I don't remember. I don't think so. Yeah, because we had the bases load situation and
He didn't go up.
he didn't go up.
Weird. Very weird. It feels like a Phantom IL situation might happen where you're like, oh, I have plantar footyitis. What? Is it fascia? No, footyitis.
Fooditis. Yeah, what?
What?
Those aren't real words. Speak real words.
You're on the 60-day IL. Okay. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where he falls into, but
Now, the Padres still have problems. We still can't win in extra innings.
still have no grand slams. And still have a horrible record in one-run games.
Yeah.
But maybe the vibe changes, James. maybe G-Man and Garrett Cooper. They don't know any different. They're bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. They're like, oh, this is fun. Let's just win. Let's just not lose.
G-Man Choi is playing in San Diego with. We have our own Korean broadcasters. Mm-hmm. We have a Korean superstar on our team. So he already and I mean, I wonder if they had to fire. Did G-Man Choi's translator?
No, I asked. I went on a rabbit hole. This was the first thing I thought was like, do they get a second translator? Turns out no. One language. You only get one language translator per team. So there's the Spanish translator has to do everybody, which I think is a little annoying because like that guy must be exhausted every day.
Well, the thing is because like Kim's translator is a part of the team.
Yeah.
He takes place in the home run. He takes part in the home run celebrations.
Oh yeah.
I want to know if G-Man Choi's translator what he did. Was he going to be okay? Goes back to
the at some point this year the Pirates had 3 South Korean players.
Yeah. But the other 2 are back in AAA.
Yeah. So I suspect the translator is back with them.
Okay.
I think that's to make you feel better.
I feel bad for him.
Yeah, you're. This has turned into like a big job security pod. First, the couple from Des Moines. Now, translators in the Pirates organization.
Yeah.
Are they safe? Are they all right? They have a savings account.
Well, I just know that our translator is so beloved. I can only assume his translator is a nice guy.
Yeah. I would assume so. Translators, you have to be pretty affable. I feel like if you're a rude translator, like, buddy, we can get another one of you. Like, we don't. You're not the only one that speaks 2 languages, dude.
Maybe in Pittsburgh he was like.
Maybe it was.
It's really hard. It's really easy to find him in.
There's not a lot of Indeed listings for Korean speakers in Pittsburgh.
Probably not. I've only been there once. I didn't see too many Korean barbecue places.
I have loud hope in my heart though, James, and I don't know if it's a good thing, and I think it's because I just need a little bit of hope. That's all I need in this season. And if the Dodgers series does not go well, then it's just back to the dark place. And I feel bad that we bought, but I think truthfully, Juan Soto is on a tear. Manny Machado's on a tear in July.
Tatis loves hitting against the Dodgers, and once he got to 99 home runs, he just every swing was trying to get to 100.
Yeah,
and he hadn't got a hit since. And today he got his 100th home run in Colorado. So congratulations, Tatis. And I think that huge. You could tell when he was around the bases, a huge weight off his shoulders, like that was just hanging over him.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to go off on the Dodgers.
Ha-Seong Kim is a superstar. He is third in reference WAR. Some guy named Shohei Ohtani's first, and Ronald Acuna Jr. is second, and then it's Ha-Seong Kim. Dude is hitting well. Leadoff spot has been awesome. He's an incredible fielder. I just feel like that's enough. And Blake Snell is on the path to become a Cy Young winner again. Gary Sanchez.
Jake Cronenworth's a 7-game hit streak.
Yeah. Also, I saw this tweet from earlier, and I want to talk about it because just something to mention. Like, this is why I'm allowing hope in my heart is that since Petco opened, no Padre has ever finished a season with an on-base percentage as high as Juan Soto's current 424. Brian Giles' 423 in 2005 was with 13 homers. Soto has 23, and it's barely August. Put simply, he's probably the best offensive player we've seen since Qualcomm. And it's kind of true, you know? So you have that. Going into the series, going now, the vibes are good. Soto seems happier because we're not Debbie Downers. I just don't know. I'm just allowing hope in my heart again.
Lots of hope.
And I just, you know what I want this weekend, James? I want an extra inning walk-off.
Me too.
From a new guy. From Garrett Cooper, G-Man. I want it. I want it bad. And I want that to be like, oh, that's right. And that's the vibe. That's another notch. I want two things. I want a grand slam, and I want that.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
And to take 3 out of 4 or sweep the Dodgers.
Yeah. That's how the Padres have to approach it. Someone said the Padres can only lose 20 games the rest of the season. Right? If 60, 50-ish games left, right? 50 or 60, how many games left? Something around there, right? Like, to get to 90 wins, you need to be 8 games above 500. And it's just like, you can only really lose 20 games.
So our next 9 games, our next 3 series, 4 games against the Dodgers. Then we fly to Seattle and play 2 games in Washington, and then 3 games in Arizona against the Diamondbacks.
Not easy. Not easy teams.
No. I would say, even if we split the series with the Dodgers, we have to sweep Seattle. And we have to take 2 out of 3 from the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, I mean, the head-to-head matchups are super important. Don and Mud were talking about this, is that we're facing off against tons of teams that are ahead of us in the wild card standings and division standings going up. So we just need to, when we play division or wild card teams, we have to beat every series. I agree with that. So I like that plan. I think the Mariners are one of those teams where, like, they're a good I think their standings are not indicative of actually the quality of team that they can put together. When they have a good starter on the bump with them, they're a really tough team.
Yes.
So I agree with that. I think I'm going to go one step further. I think we have to sweep the Diamondbacks. That's the series you have to really put the kill on. Because the Dodgers are currently the ones in lead of in the division, right? I just think you have to put the hurting on the Diamondbacks to get some leveling up in the wild card. So winning against Dodgers, I think we'll probably split against the Mariners because they'll probably face one of their good pitchers, and then we have to sweep the Diamondbacks. So I'm going to say what is that?
7-2, 6-3.
6-3, yeah.
Those are the 2 acceptable. 7-2 is the optimist. 6-3 is the absolute. Have to do that.
Right. I mean, think about it. It's just like, if you have 50 games left, you have to win 30 to be 10 games above 500-ish with the wiggle room, obviously.
Yeah.
1 or 2 games to get to the 90 win mark, which is traditionally that mark to get you in the wild card race. So you only can lose 20 games. That's it. You have to, and I think we have talent there. We have to execute and not be wet blankets. I've watched too many wet blanket games this series.
Too many wet blankets.
Anything else, James, on this? This was a pretty positive pod.
This has been a positive podcast. It's a bit weird. Should we go like stub our toe or something?
We haven't had one of these in a while. When was the last positive pod we had?
We swept the Giants in Mexico.
Yeah, I was gonna say April or May, right? It must have been. Tatis came back, and it must have been around there. Yeah, because it's just us. It's been a lot of just, I guess we're 500 or we're not 500 podcasts. So, well, I'm excited, James. I'm hoping next podcast is even more positive.
More hope.
More hope.
Oh my goodness,
James. Before we sign off, who else are you worried about their job security?
Well, can I rant for a second?
Yeah.
There were a lot of trades that happened this trade deadline that I thought were the stupidest things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Teams that decided, oh, we don't want you, so we're going to let you go sign with another team, i.e. Justin Verlander, Kiki Ramirez, whatever his name is, from the Kiki Hernandez.
Yeah.
The Dodgers and the Astros just let them sign with other players, and then they traded for them. That's like, you could have just given them money and had them stay. Now you have to pay them more money you didn't want to pay them in the first place, and also give up players.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. That's just, I don't think I've ever seen that before.
It happened twice, right? Yeah. It was weird. Yeah, I guess we could talk about the big trades. Max Scherzer's a Ranger, Justin Verlander's an Astro. That's like the biggest trades, right? I guess the best position player was Jeimer Candelario, and he went to the Cubs. But that's not that big of a deal.
No.
It wasn't, from a baseball perspective, there wasn't any monster trades that were like...
The Marlins got Josh Bell.
Yeah. And the Astros, I mean, I know Verlander and Scherzer are good players. I'm just saying that, like, I think the Mets just tore everything down.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it wasn't like there wasn't a bidding war on Juan Soto or Trey Turner, or, like a few years past.
Once the Angels said Shohei's not in the market,
Yeah.
the trade, all of the major suspense of the trade deadline went away.
Yeah. I sure hope the Angels make the playoffs.
I do too.
I appreciate them going. I do think it's cool they we're going for it, and they have. I think they are a good team, but man, 17 of their players were on the IL, and they're 40-man at one point this year.
Yeah,
that's just that. I mean, you talk about cursed. That's like truly cursed. Yeah, I just hope they can. I mean, they lost a series to the Braves, but Braves are really good.
the Braves are. I hear they're good this year.
I hear they're good as well. So that's the only thing. But my impression of trade deadline is just, I really hope the Angels go for it, and I just think that I really don't. And this may sound silly, but I don't think the Astros or the Rangers get necessarily that much better, because that division's like a dogfight.
Yeah, I think once the Rangers got Scherzer, the Astros had to get Verlander, because they knew they needed a piece to match that piece, because that's a tight race between those two Texas teams.
Yep, I agree. Cool. Well, I'm I'm actually excited for our next podcast, which is not something I said before.
No.
Until next time, James, go Padres.
Go Padres.